me see. Got it.
Once you broadcast live, and then if you refresh YouTube after.
Okay. All right, we're good to go. Thanks, Dan. How's everybody doing? Good morning, guys. You guys pile on like right early, just 9 o'clock. Everyone's here, ready to trade. This is so exciting. Good morning, guys. Good morning. How's it going? Let's give everybody a little bit of time to just kind of join in, and we will get this going. Good morning, Jay Linder. Good morning, Andrew. Andrew, you're on hosts and panelists. Okay, all right. I love it when a Tuesday happens to be a bear day, right? Like, how awesome is that? It's amazing. It's exciting. We had the CPI come through in the morning, and I was switched it. Okay, perfect. Jay Linder says my favorite Airbnb. Let's check that out. Right and early. Okay. What? I was looking for gap and goes too. This makes sense. Yeah, this is a beautiful gap down. Hey, let's check this out. I'll add it to the list. I really, really like this gap and go, especially if we have some follow through with the markets, which I think we will. I just have a feeling that we're going to have a follow through with the markets to the bear side. Dan and I were talking earlier, and I mean, we're only in the 6th bullish week on SPY and the Qs. So what could go wrong, right? And yeah, well, somebody I was debating about how the broader markets are doing and what else is going on. And one of my friend who's really experienced in trading said, you'd be, and he's got a lot of experience, a lot of years under his belt. And he said, you'd be really fooling yourself if you think that the economy is the stock market. And it kind of really stuck with me. I really get it, because I mean, we've had some horrible data, we've had some great data, and the markets just keep doing whatever they want to do. It really does not matter unless there's some threat. There's some severe like COVID dip was legit. I get it. That makes sense. But otherwise, if you're really heavily reliant on some of these numbers, I mean, we've had lots of data come out, and I really don't see the market resonate with that, at least in the long term. Maybe in the short term, we might see a dip or two or whatever, but otherwise, not really. With that being said, if you guys are active on Twitter, Financial Juice posted a really cool tweet, and I just kind of like to point people to that. It's got a full breakdown of how CPI. So without the energy, we're still pretty high with inflation. Everything else, every other asset is very, very high. With that being said, with what I said earlier, I am not heavily reliant on that data. I don't think anything of that of that is really going to affect the markets today. I think the markets are genuinely going to have a pullback today, but it's not going to be because, the CPI was so bad, or the CPI was so great, or whatever. It's just, we need a pullback. We're due for a pullback, and we might get it today. I think that's what the thought process behind it is. So here's SPY on a weekly chart, and I mean, as we could see, we're kind of extended, right? By kind of, I mean a lot. So we're definitely extended, and we need a pullback. So let's see if we get it today. If we extend this trend line, I think we're sort of in that trend line also. Let's see. Hold on. Let's make it a little bit prettier. It's got a little bit of room to go a little bit higher. I mean, maybe not. No. Yeah, it's got a little room to go a little bit higher, but I do think today is going to be our pullback day. We're kind of extended off of the 10 EMA on the daily chart. The weekly chart, obviously, we're extended. 4 hours, 1 hour, everything has super high RSI. We have a little bit of divergence, so maybe today is the day we get that sweet little pullback. But yeah, Lauren says Oracle, yes, got her on my list, girly. Well, not girly. Sorry, Lauren. I know you're a guy. Okay, cool. So here we go on Oracle. Definitely a pretty devastating gap down for all the people here. I mean, everybody that bought yesterday thinking, oh, we've had great earnings. I think today is definitely a pullback day. And as we can tell, Oracle is down to have some pretty big pullbacks. So here's what my thought process is. I don't know if anyone's going to run in and say, oh yeah, definitely a great gap. Let's go long on Oracle today. I feel like everyone's going to wait till that 100 level comes in. So we might have a dip right at open around the 100 area, and then we might get bought up. So if you want to short, but it's kind of scary, right? Because I mean, it's a 10-point gap down and you're going short right at open. So it depends on how you want to play it. If I really wanted to avert risk, I would say just wait till we get to some solid regions and see if we can bounce from there, because it's a pretty big gap down. That's just the way how I would play it. But again, you know, it's a pretty big double bottom that we got rejected off of. We didn't bounce over here. If we were really strong, we should have bounced over here. The bulls are going to exit today, or at least exit partial, you know, take a partial of their position or take a loss or whatever. But so, yeah, I think short right at open. And then maybe once we pull into 100 level, I think long from there. Or maybe we just continue to roll down, but it's a pretty big darn gap down. So I'm kind of scared to short it also. So it would have to be something that we watch and see what it does. Yeah, I would have loved it if it was like a gap down till here, to like 110 or 109. I think we had more room to go down in that case. But yeah, it's a pretty big gap down. That's all I can say, guys. It's a pretty devastating gap down for all the bulls yesterday, day before, and then the day before that, with a pretty massive, well, comparatively pretty big volume, right? From the last couple of days. All right. Why is there a gap down? Oh, they got downgraded. I see. Or they got to neutral, but still. That's looking interesting. Yeah, that's the way I would trade it. That's the only way I'd trade it. Let's talk about our boy Tesla real quick. So I'm watching this very, very closely. It keeps getting rejected at this range, but we're also at some severe, you know, we're at certain moving averages. And I feel like every time I come on the mic, I say the same thing on Tesla, but it's true. We're not breaking out off the bullish, I mean, off the trend line here. We're not holding some moving averages. You know, we bounce and then we get rejected and then we bounce again. So today the 50-day moving average is at 230, so 234-ish. And then there's a weekly average at 236. So right here, and this is a 100, along with the 10 and the 20 EMA on the weekly. So there is support here. I'd be interested to see if we break this down and then continue down. I feel like once we break this level down, we have an easy ride to 215. Obviously not today. I don't think we're going to go to 215 today. But again, it's Tesla. You never know what happens. So if we have a bear day, and I was watching it all day yesterday too, we had a pretty bearish day yesterday, although the broader markets had a pretty decent up day. So I think there's weakness in Paradise, and let's see if we can pull this thing down a little bit. Today, I would target around 232-ish if we do have a bear day, but definitely keep an eye on this guy. I mean, if we slip from here, we're coming down to 215-ish, I'd say. So yeah, and that's a pretty decent range, right? So, you know, if you're playing it short with puts, you still get quite a bit. If you're playing it short with your shares, you get about 30 points. That's a pretty decent range. So definitely keeping an eye on this. If you guys remember, my favorite pattern lately is a trend line breaking down with a 10 EMA setup. It's been working out really, really well. or trend line breaking out with a 10 EMA setup. So I'm waiting, watching, seeing if this guy gives us a setup today, or if this guy just straight up breaks down. That would be interesting. So yeah, let's keep an eye out on Tesla. Another thing I was watching earlier, I don't know what Apple looks like, but it was kind of sort of over here earlier in the morning at 192. And I kind of like that. I would have loved it if it was a gap and go. But it's not. And we're kind of recovering from that zone right now. So let's see if Apple can fall off also. I think this would make for an interesting play. I do have a couple of other players that a couple of other tickers that I wanted to look at. Let's see coin. So I was looking at coin. It looks like Bitcoin is having a little tiny bit of a pullback. Well, it kind of had the pullback and now it's recovering a little bit. There is this sweet little double top on Bitcoin. Again, crypto goes pretty wild, but the only reason why I'm looking at crypto is because of coin. So coin has an inside candle with an indecision candle, right? And that also happens to be one of my favorite patterns to trade also. Pretty high on the RSI. If this thing wants to pull back, I feel like Coinbase could be a pretty good runner today. At least down to 130. That's where I would target it. So let's see what that does. I think that's all. Other than the inside candle, I don't really like this pattern too. I mean, other than the inside candle, I don't really have a play on this. There's not a real setup per se, but it's looking kind of cute right now. It's an inside candle. Inside candle, if you guys are not familiar with that, it just basically means consolidation. So it's just consolidating. That's it. And it's just taking a breather. Now from here, we could also just run up higher. And I'd be willing to play it higher also, guys. I'm not afraid to play it bullish. I'd prefer it bearish, but we have a way to play it both ways. On the weekly, obviously, we're very, very extended, but it's only Tuesday today. So we do have the rest of the week to kind of sort of pull back a little bit. For a day trade, I'm just looking at tickers for a day trade. I'm not usually looking for things for a swing trade. Just because I'm a true day trader. So I don't prefer looking at things from a swing trading perspective unless I've been plotting and planning. Speaking of that, plotting and planning, I have Eli Lilly. I had an alert here. I did not get filled on this yesterday. I was just completely distracted. Did not get filled on this yesterday, but I did have an alert here. It went off yesterday, and I'm looking to see what it does today. If it can pull back and get closes below 574, then I'll get filled. Then I'll enter this position. But as you can see, trend line breaking down. I want to see a retest of that trend line. I want to see one green candle somewhere over here today, maybe, and then a short below that could be really cool. But this was Eli Lilly. We've been planning on this forever. I've been planning on this for at least 2 weeks now. So probably from this day. So yeah, I think this thing can pull back. And if it does, we've got an easy ride down to 547, 550. So let's see if it comes down. Weekly chart, also kind of consolidating. Might just break out bullish. I don't know. Doesn't have to break down. We'll see. All right. Let us look at Oracle. We looked at this guy. Let's look at Hasbro. I don't know what's up with this guy. I'm really seeing. I'm sure it's got something that's along the way, but this is a pretty decent gap and go also. So I'm keeping an eye out for this guy to continue down. As I can see, the range isn't really there. And I like tickers that have a solid range. So like Tesla, AMD, that lets us play. Like Google, for example, has been a slow mover. It doesn't really have that much of a range lately. Apple also doesn't really have that much of a range. I don't really prefer it for day trades, but I like where this thing's breaking down to. Right at the 20 EMA, right below this indecision candle, we've had 3 days of buying. So short right at open, with a $1.50 of a target. I think that could be doable. So 46 as a target is definitely doable. I like where this is going on Hasbro. Yeah, clear pivot. We're scooting down, which makes sense. One could also look at this as a bear flag. You might not see it on the weekly chart, but like an hourly or 4 hours, you'll see it. You see how like this is forming a bear flag from this pole. So we're breaking down on that. I kind of like where this is going. I like where Oracle's going. Let's see, the Qs aren't really moving. Let's look at the SPY. This is a 4-hour chart on SPY. We're pulling down for sure. We're coming down. I think 459 today could be doable down to this 20 EMA, and then we'll see which rate wants to go. I'm not afraid, actually, honestly, I'm not afraid to play it long also, but I would have my stops really tight because we're really at the top right now and we're kind of extended. So yesterday, if you want to take a look at the NQ yesterday, I was looking at it for a little bit yesterday. Let's check out this guy here. So we were going long and then we had a decent pullback and then we continued long. Now, anybody in their right mind would think, oh, this is an S curve, let's just go long, but then that didn't happen. We just kind of got rejected. If we start to go higher today, I think this is what I'm expecting. We go higher, trap some bulls, and then come back down. So I'm not expecting it to do anything super spectacular. And the Qs, I mean, futures don't look very good for a bull day. If you're looking at this daily chart, this does not scream bullish to me right now. So yeah, we'll see. I think today might be the day we get our pullback. I don't think we're going to come down to 300-400 points, but I think we will come down at least 200 points. It'll give us a good range to play this in either direction, long or short. So we'll see. I prefer it short, but if we have to play it long, we'll have to play it long. The only way I would play things long today is if it has a double bottom, or some sort of like an inverse head and shoulders, or some sort of a pattern that goes along with my thesis. Otherwise, I'm not really interested in playing it long. And I think everybody here has a similar bias, similar stance. Let's see, Amazon. Amazon is pretty darn strong. It's been very strong. This double bottom held. Everything else pretty much out there in the market's been strong, but yeah, it's looking kind of interesting even on the weekly chart. It's got this sweet little inverse head and shoulders. It's consolidated. It's got this double bottom that we retested, and we're going higher. I don't know if there's a day trade here for me. Maybe if the markets start going bullish, I'll play Amazon long, but otherwise, I think we'll just have to come back and circle this again. Google was kind of interesting earlier. Let's see if it still is. Yeah, Google is interesting. 3 days of buying, lots of buying volume, and we're looking a little bit of a gap and go right now. So let's see if we get that gap and go. I think Google would be a neat little short down to this level, 129. Google's also got that lawsuit that they lost. Gisela says, good morning, NVIDIA and Tesla. Let's go check that out. Let's see. How are you, Gisela? I hope you're doing well. Okay, cool. So Google's got this sweet little gap and go. I kind of like this play. Google has to be my favorite gap, and then Hasbro. We'll see. What else is extended? Netflix was kind of extended. Let's see. Today it's yeah. I wish it was a gap and go today on Netflix. It would have been a cute little gap and go, right? What a monstrous candle yesterday. It's looking interesting for sure. We'll see if it has a follow through today in the bullish department. I think Amazon and Netflix have to be my bull plays, and then Google and Apple also, and Hasbro has to be my bear plays. We'll see. We shall see. Let's check out NVIDIA. Nvidia is not really doing a spectacular gap. Earlier when I was looking at it, it was at 467. So I wasn't really interested. I said, oh, I'll just come back to it. Nothing to see here, but it's looking kind of interesting right now, right? It's looking like it's wanting to break down this trend line. 10 EMA play is what I would do on Nvidia. It's weak for sure. And in my opinion, guys, when something does, so I've seen this time and time again, at least on a day trading level, I've seen this time and time again. I'm not sure on a swing, but I mean, even in a swing trade level, I have seen it where if we have a double bottom and then we come back and retest it, and then we fail that retest. By fail, I mean, we do something like this and then come back down where we should have bounced off of this level. We are 100% going to come test the bottom of this double bottom. Sorry for the lack of my drawing skills, but I hope I'm making sense. And Nvidia is doing just that right now. So let's erase this and I'll show you what I mean. So we have this double bottom. We retested it. We're going higher. And now we're looking to break down. We don't hold this level soonish. I feel like we can come down all the way down to this bottom, to 400. It's definitely doable. So that's what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting that to happen today, but for a day trade, and if you're looking for a swing trade positions, I think this might be an interesting play if we start to break this pivot level down. So keep an eye out for this guy for long-term, short-term, whatever. Today, I think we should get a sweet play down to the downside. Everything's kind of looking pullbacky. Yesterday, all of the big players, Tesla, Nvidia, I mean, Nvidia looked horrendous yesterday. We only got bought up in the second half, right? It looked pretty bad. Apple looked pretty bad. All of the big players looked bad. Netflix looked horrible. And the market's kind of pulled back up. And I think it was because of, I was listening to Market Talk yesterday, and it was they switched from the Magnificent Seven to the consumers side, right? So the consumers were up, and every tech was down. So yeah, I think today we might get a follow through. Let's see if we get that sweet little follow through today. Giselle says, let's short it. Let's short it. I'm game, girlfriend. You know, I'm always looking to short something. So definitely game. Airbnb also is my favorite gap. I love this gap down. I think we can easily come down to here. Let's look at some longer term moving averages. Hold on. On a weekly. Yeah, we're at this trend line where we should get rejected. Moving averages are down here, nothing along the way on the daily, nothing along the way, so we're safe. We're not as stuck as we would be on Tesla, right? Because Tesla's got moving averages everywhere. And I kind of don't like that about Tesla because anywhere it could bounce. And we have to be prepared for that. So don't really like that too much. Let's look at YouTube land and see what they want to look at. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Name. I think I'm saying that right. Yay! Real virtual demand says, Name, you'll love it here. Yes, that's awesome. Great. All right, CVNA. Let's look at that for YouTube land. Let's check it out. CVNA, Carvana. I haven't looked at Carvana in so long. Looking good. I think short below here, long above here, right? I think it's the only way to play it. Inside candles, this is an inside candle with an indecision candle, a spin top candle, right? So I would prefer it in the short side a lot more because there's a lot more green volume than red. So I think there's a lot more bulls out there that might want to get out rather than bears. So I kind of like this in the bear side if we get that pullback. Short below 38. Or if we get a dip right at open, so let's say the market's open and on a 1 minute chart, we get a dip. Then you come back, wait for that retest and short over here somewhere. How do you know where that over here is? That's the 10 EMA. So let me show you something on NQ today, and I'll explain exactly what I mean. So 1 minute chart at 8:30. Let's see. Very sorry, guys. It's taking forever. All right. 1 minute chart at 8:30. We have this big indecision candle because of CPI, right? And then we pull back down. We take this candle out. So this is an indecision candle. Obviously, we take it out by a little bare bit, but we do take it out. So that tells me there's weakness. So then what do? You wait for that bounce up to the 10 EMA. So you go set up your short entry over here, and then you wait for that target level to get hit, which it did. So we're good, right? But that's exactly, this is the green and the red lines are my 10 EMA and the 20 EMA. Green is 10, red is 20. And that's how I would set up shorts. So on CVNA, that's exactly how I would play it on a 1 minute chart also. Just wait for that dip and then see if you can pull back up, set up your short there, and then go look to go short. See if you can write down some targets. All right, okay. ADTX. Brian says, who's the host? It's Maloney. Let's go check out ADTX. Right. Whoa. It's a massive gap up. What's going on here? Oh my God, it's like 100% up, 82% up. That's insane. Wow. Okay, cool. ADTX. The way I would play this is tiny pullback. I don't think we're going to get a very big pullback because we're closing above this very big red candle volume, right? Well, we're opening above this very big candle volume. So I don't think we're going to get a massive pullback. But yeah, if we do get that pullback, I think looking for a continuation. That's the only way I would play it. I would not want to play this bearish at all. It's going pretty high up, and it could continue higher. It looks like this thing does a very parabolic move usually. So yeah, I'd be looking for continuation. I mean, it's up 82%. However, I would not, this is not the same thing as Oracle. It just isn't. So just be cautious. It's a sweet little double bottom, lots of consolidation. We're at the bottom of the barrel. Look for continuation. Look for, a move higher. So let's hope and pray that we get a pullback. And then, wherever we get that pullback, I think if we could get that pullback to 534, I don't think that's going to happen. But if we do, then maybe an entry over there and then look for a long continuation. Can we please look at MNST? Let's go check that out. These are all. Ooh, nice gap up. Yeah, I like this gap too. We broke out. We're in this wave 4, and we're looking like we're breaking out of that range. Monster beverage. Oh my God, I haven't looked at, I did not look at this at all. I have never looked at this before, so I don't know. But anyway, okay, Monster, I think bullish continuation, Luis. You're right. Great gap up. That's exactly what I would do. I like this sweet little breakout. I love all of this bear volume. As you can see, if you kind of just look at this, there's more bears in here than bulls. And you can kind of tell from this day onwards, right? So I think all the bears are going to want to close out. I'm going to add Monster to my watch list and look for bullish continuation. So a little tiny pullback. I don't think we're going to get that pullback either. I think we're going to get maybe a few cents, but I would have to play this on a 1 minute chart, Luis. I'm not going to play this on a longer time frame. See, it just continues. All right. It's time for me to say goodbye to YouTube land. Hello. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, it's time for me to say goodbye. I will see you guys back next Tuesday. Have a wonderful